Hey everybody, Frank from AM Ramen here. I am back in Hakodate, Hokkaido, doing a quick ramen video up here. A little bit of a vacation slash ramen trip. And I'm crossing off the list some Hakodate places that I haven't visited yet. As you all might know, I'm a big fan of Shio or salt seasoned ramen. Hakodate is famous for that. And last time I was here, I didn't get to visit what is the highest ranked ramen restaurant in Hakodate. Visiting there right now, let's do this. Greetings from Hakodate, Hokkaido. Frank from AM Ramen here, and this is episode 1 in a little Hokkaido ramen series. Unlike last time I was here, in the dead of winter, the weather is a lot more pleasant this time around. We're kicking off our ramen trip in Hakodate and wrapping it up in Sapporo, Hokkaido's capital. Along the way, we're making a side trip to the beautiful canal city of Otaru. Now, Hakodate is probably my favorite city in Hokkaido. I love the cityscape, the architecture, the hills, and of course, its Shio ramen. One of Hakodate's most famous ramen shops is Jioken. Every time I've been in Hakodate, I've somehow missed out on it. And well, this time was no different. I roll up to a massive line, on a weekday mind you, only to be told they're out of soup. Here's me, immediately after hearing the bad news. A little bit of a letdown from a video perspective, but the #1 ranked ramen shop in Hakodate ran out of soup. I only got there an hour after they opened, and this is on a weekday. Maybe I should have gone earlier. I wasn't in Hakodate though at the time, so it wasn't meant to be, and I'll be back up here in Hakodate to cross that one off the list. Another thing with these places where there's so much hype, sometimes you go and it's like, oh yeah, it was good, but was it worth the wait? And from what I judged of the line, would have been about an hour wait. That said, I don't feel horrible about not having eaten there. I had a backup plan. Enter Ichimonji, another ramen spot that's been on my hit list. Ichimonji's main branch is in Yunokawa, Hakodate's famous hot spring resort area. They've got a pretty big setup here. Ichimonji is a big name in Hakodate. In fact, they've even had their ramen showcased at 7-Eleven in instant form. Their menu is pretty extensive. Dipping ramen, shoyu ramen, miso ramen, and of course, Shio ramen. Naturally, I had to go with the Shio ramen. Here, the soup is made with chicken and vegetables. In contrast, their miso ramen leans heavier with a pork bone broth. Here's my full recap on Ichimonji. Ichimonji has been on my list for a while, and I was actually interested in them because they came out with an instant ramen that they were selling at 7-Eleven, which I didn't eat. I wanted to have the real ramen first, but that kind of piqued my interest. There I was eating Ichimonji ramen. It was a great bowl of Shio with a really buttery flavor, almost like they were putting butter into the soup. Strong chicken flavors, but with a hint of seafood as well. And that buttery background really leaving an impression. The Shio or salt seasoning itself was not that salty. I like it sometimes a little bit saltier. Ichimonji ticked all the boxes for me, being a Shio ramen lover. And even though the seasoning wasn't as salty as I sometimes like it, I love the bowl overall. It more than got the job done. That little touch of yuzu was nice, adding some brightness to the bowl. And again, overall a bowl I really enjoyed. I am over by Hakodate Airport. I don't always come out to this part of town, but this is where Ichimonji, their HQ, their flagship shop is, so I had to come out here. And there's another ramen restaurant around the corner from here. It wasn't on my radar until now, and I'm curious. I'm gonna have another bowl of Shio ramen. That's what they eat up here. And let's see how it compares to the previous one at Ichimonji. On my way there right now. Before my next bowl, I swing by a stately coffee shop that used to be someone's home. A quick recharge. Then it's off to another ramen spot, Maido. This one was recommended to me by someone who had just visited Hakodate, and it definitely has more of a local feel compared to Ichimonji's larger setup. Maido also simmers chicken and vegetables for their soup, similar ingredients to Ichimonji, but I was expecting something lighter here. Let's see if that was the case. Loving these Hokkaido ramen bowls? There's plenty more where that came from. Our brand new Hokkaido Ramen Guidebook is your ultimate digital resource for the best ramen spots across Sapporo and beyond. Grab your copy now. Link in the description, and don't forget to use the promo code. Of course, when you're in a city where, let's say, there's one type of ramen that they're most famous for, there's kind of a template. And in Hakodate, that's going to be a Shio ramen template. So just like the first place we visited, this was a super clear broth. And there were a lot of similarities. There were more similarities than there were differences, let's say, being 2 bowls of Hakodate Shio ramen. But Ichimonji was more buttery in flavor, whereas this one was more sweet. So buttery chicken warm flavors first, and this one sweeter chicken flavors. And that came from them adding vegetables to the soup. I asked the owner there what was the source of sweetness, and it was likely the vegetables that he was adding alongside the chicken bones. Noodles were thinner here. The chashu at both places were soft and fatty, just the way I like it. And there's a certain simplicity about Shio Ramen. It can go in a more complicated, complex direction, but at the end of the day, Hakodate Shio Ramen is pretty straightforward, and that's what I like about it. It's simple and so light and refreshing, and that's what you got at both shops. But just again with some minor differences between the two in terms of the noodle size or thickness, I should say, and also the flavor of the soup. As I always do when I come to Hakodate, I'm gonna do a little bit of sightseeing, even though I've seen everything in Hakodate that you're supposed to see. I love walking around Hakodate, one of my favorite cities in Japan. And I think tomorrow I'm gonna get back to ramen eating. There's one place that doesn't do Shio. They're not doing something completely different, but they've been making a lot of headlines recently in Hakodate. This is where we're going tomorrow.
As I mentioned earlier, I'm a big fan of Hakodate as a city. The hills leading up to Mount Hakodate are full of turn-of-the-century buildings, classic port city vibes from its days of international trade. I decided to revisit Mount Hakodate, and wow, it was a little more crowded than the last time I came. Still, I got this view, one of the 3 best nighttime views in Japan. I didn't wait until nightfall though. The crowds were just too insane. It's still worth checking out though if you're ever in Hakodate. That's where I'll leave you today. In the next episode, we're grabbing a burger. Yes, a burger, and of course, some ramen for good measure. All still in Hakodate. Thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope to see you in episode 2 of this Hokkaido ramen series.